the next bracket or next section, next region is the Tom Brady region. Blake, let's read them real quick. Tom Brady got the number 1 seed. Michael Jackson got the number 2 seed. Steve Irwin with the number 3 seed. Colonel Sanders is in there with and look, these are not jokes. These were actual votes from people that are a part of ATG and AT. Colonel Sanders in there at number 4 seed. Dale Earnhardt, number 5. Tom Hanks, number 6. Sean Connery, 7. And Corey Haim, a late edition 8 seed because I needed an extra one. That's one of my picks. So, Blake, what are you thinking about this Tom Brady region so far?
It's very impressive. A lot of big names, Ronnie. One controversial name. I'm sure we'll get to that. I see some very tough matchups. This one's going to be exciting.
So first off, let's go with the number 1 versus number 8, Tom Brady and his major accomplishments, Blake. First off is the number 7. That's how many Super Bowl he's got. He's got a record 7 Super Bowl wins. He's the only NFL player to win more Super Bowls than any other franchise. The Patriots and the Steelers each have 6. He has 7. He's the only player to win 5 Super Bowl MVP awards. He holds Super Bowl records of completions at 164, passing yards at 1,605, and passing touchdowns at 21. He's the all-time leader in wins, Pro Bowl selections, passing yards, completions, attempts, and passing touchdowns. I'm not sure the passing yards is correct. 15-time Pro Bowler, Blake, 3-time MVP, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, 35 postseason career wins. He's the oldest quarterback at 43 to win a Super Bowl. So that's a lot of stuff. Now, he will be facing Corey Haim. So let me type up Corey Haim, major accomplishments. So, okay. You know, before I start reading this, it seems like a mismatch, right?
Yeah.
First off, if you grew up in the 80s, you got to know how big Corey Haim was. He was on every Teen Beat girl magazine that was in the grocery store that you could buy. Okay. He was that guy. He was in what's the movie?
Lost Boys and License to Drive.
Yeah, Lost Boys, License to Drive. Blake sort of diminishing what he's got going on here. Let's see what AI says. Corey Haim, known for his roles in Silver Bullet, Lost Boys, and License to Drive, alongside Corey Feldman. His collaboration with Corey Feldman in Lost Boys catapulted them into fame, establishing them as the two Coreys, 1980s icon. All right. Then he overdosed. So, Blake, who
was also in a Dirty movie, I think.
With the Charles in Charge girl.
Yeah.
Tom Brady or Corey Haim to advance to the second round?
No Cinderella story here, Ronnie. I think it speaks for itself. Tom Brady, his credentials. I mean, you didn't even mention the hundreds of millions of dollars, the supermodel, that he knocked up. This is a classic 1 versus 8 in a tournament, and Tom Brady moves on for me in the next round.
I agree 100%. Tom Brady moves on. Now, let's jump down to the 2 versus the 7. One that you said is going to cause a little bit of controversy here, Blake. Michael Jackson versus Sean Connery. All right, so he wrote The King of Pop, 500 million records sold worldwide, 13 Grammy Awards, Blake. Pioneered the rock video form with his innovative music videos. Thriller, his 1982 album, is one of the best-selling albums of all time, selling 45 million copies worldwide and establishing him as a global superstar. He's won 13 Grammys, 8 for the album Thriller. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 2001. He's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the Jackson 5 in 1997. He's the best-selling solo artist of all time, or at least he was as of this, with over 500 million records sold. He's known as the King of Pop, Blake. Breaking racial barriers, he opened the doors for artists on radio, television, and MTV. He's got 6 Brit Awards, 40 Billboard Music Awards, 26 American Music Awards. So that's Michael Jackson, the King of Pop. On the flip side of that, we got Sean Connery.
James Bond.
There you go. He is the iconic first actor to portray James Bond, winning an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in The Untouchables and starring in other notable films like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. He portrayed James Bond in Dr. No from 1962, From Russia with Love in 1963, Goldfinger in 1964, Thunderball in 1965, You Only Live Twice in 1967, Never Say Never Again in 1983, and Diamonds Are Forever in 1971. Let's see. That's Hunt for Red October. That's it. That's far. And he was in that movie Zardoz where he wore a pair of panties the whole movie.
Yeah.
So March Madness, Blake, white boy edition. Who are out of these two white people are you choosing to advance the second round? Oh, I'm going first. I'm going Michael Jackson. I think it's a no-brainer that Michael Jackson defeats Sean Connery on accomplishments alone. Not to mention the music is amazing.
I agree with you. I think on accomplishments alone, Michael Jackson should advance. But before you write that down, Ronnie, I can't pick him because and Sean Connery was in one of my favorite movies of all time that got bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's also part of a viral video on YouTube. I think he's like on The View or some shit, and he's bragging about slapping the shit out of his wife whenever she gets out of line. Because of that alone, I think he should advance in the best white guy bracket to the next round. So I'm sorry, we're split decision here. I got Sean Connery over Michael Jackson.
All right, let's go to the wheel.
The wheel is just.
The wheel is fair.
Da 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 da.
Are we ready?
It's pandemonium, baby.
Let's go. It's gonna be close.
You're 3-0 on the wheel.
It's Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson will advance to the round of 32, defeating Sean Connery, Blake. Here we go. Moving up to the number 3 seed, Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, Blake. He's jumping on gorillas. He's jumping on crocodiles and alligators. He's smashing spiders and guts everywhere. And then all of a sudden, a stingray takes him down. Everybody loves Steve Irwin. Now let's go to the major accomplishments of one Tom Hanks, who lives on Epstein Island, if you believe everything on social media. Tom Hanks' major accomplishments.
Party.
He's in Bachelor Party. 2, The Burbs. 2 Academy Awards for Best Actor in Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. He was in Saving Private Ryan, Apollo 13, the Toy Story franchise, Castaway, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. He's earned 7 Primetime Emmy Awards for his work in television. So that's Tom Hanks. Bachelor Party alone. It's Bachelor Party versus you fighting alligators, Blake. Which one are you going with?
Ronnie, this matchup, first off, the fact that Tom Hanks is a 6 and Steve Irwin is a 3, to me, I feel like that should be backwards. But hey, that's the way the votes fell. With this matchup, it reminds me of a quote from the movie The Dark Knight. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think Steve Irwin died a hero. And Tom Hanks was well loved in the 80s, 90s, and even in the early 2000s with Castaway and some of the other dumb shit he did. But now that he's allegedly, governor of Epstein Island and he's a pedophile, he's a pedophile, I think I got to go with Steve Irwin, die doing what he loves, over Tom Hanks. I know that's crazy. I'm going Steve Irwin.
You just swayed me. I thought for sure that Bachelor Party would take me.
It looks like a no-brainer. But when you really sit back and think, the last half of these of Tom Hanks's career and life and all the bullshit that he stirs up, I'm going Steve Irwin. He died a hero. Tom Hanks, when he dies, I'm sorry. I think like the legacy is tarnished with all the pedophile shit.
But when you
I
think
love Toy Story.
when you think about Tom Hanks, you're like, damn, white guy.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then when you think about Steve Irwin, you're like, damn, white guy.
Yeah.
And you're like smiling because it's a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You swayed me. Steve Irwin to round 2, Blake.
And it's not even an upset. I love
it. Get that pedophile out of here, allegedly.
Bye-bye.
Moving on to the next one. This is this might be the most obscure matchup in the history of brackets anywhere. Colonel Sanders versus Dale Earnhardt.
I'm going to go out on a limb, Ronnie, and say in the history of the planet, in any form, in any conversation, on the internet, on a notebook, in a school, no one has ever said Colonel Sanders versus Dale Earnhardt.
You think we're the first?
This is the first time it's ever happened.
So let's look up some major accomplishments from Colonel Harlan Sanders, because we had to make a change to this, Blake. No fictitious characters allowed in here, just real.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Just a little fun sidebar fact. One time I was in the early stages of writing a comic book of the fast food owners that are a mafia. Colonel Sanders, Dave Thomas.
That's great. That's a great idea. We need to get on that.
Yeah, I was in the early stages of creating this mafia of fast food guys where they kill people and then go make commercials about the fast food and shit. But anyway, go ahead.
That's great. Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, or KFC, best known for creating fried chicken recipe that launched a global fast food empire. Also, all this information is being provided by Google. Founded the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Sanders developed his secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices and a pressure frying method to create the iconic fried chicken that became the cornerstone of KFC. In 1952, he opened his first franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah. Sanders patented a method of cooking chicken in a pressure fryer, which allowed faster cooking while retaining the moisture and flavor needed to be delicious. Sanders became the face of KFC, appearing in commercials and promoting the company until his death in 1980. In 1964, Sanders sold his interest in Kentucky Fried Chicken for $2 million. In 1935, the governor of Kentucky bestowed upon him the honorary title of colonel. So he's not even a real colonel. Sanders' business expanded internationally. First international franchisee in Canada in 1956. What else? No money's on the air. So that's Colonel Sanders. And he's facing, Blake, Dale Earnhardt.
I just typed in, Ronnie, $2 million in 1964 is 21.12 today.
How many KFC restaurants are there out there right now, Blake? I need that number.
30,000 restaurants.
That's a lot of restaurants.
Spanning 150 countries. In 2023 alone, KFC opened 2,700 new restaurants across 96 countries. So, I mean, Ronnie, you're talking about a global franchise here.
Dale Earnhardt, known as the Intimidator, was a NASCAR legend, achieving a record-tying 7 NASCAR Cup Series championships, 76 race wins, and led over 25,000 laps in his career. Earnhardt won a record-tying 7 NASCAR Series Cups, tying him with Richard Petty. 76 career wins, $40 million in career earnings for Dale Earnhardt. Other notable wins, he won 4 Winston 500s, 3 Coca-Cola 600s, 3 Southern 500s, the Brickyard 400 in 1995, and the Daytona 500 in 1998. He was a 4-time winner of the International Race of Champions Series in 1990, 95, 99, and 2000.
He was in Days of Thunder.
He was in Days of Thunder, died tragically, but still everybody's wearing the Intimidator number, and this is going to be a tough one, Blake. I'm going to let you – do I go first or do you go first on this one?
I believe it's your turn.
So Colonel Sanders, billion-dollar chicken industry. I love chicken. I'm going Colonel Sanders. It's just that.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
This is one of the tougher matchups, in my opinion. I'm not a racing guy, and I know you're not either, Ronnie. I do love Days of Thunder, and I hope we get a sequel. When you think of NASCAR, you think of Dale Earnhardt. That's it. I mean, it's like Michael Jordan in the NBA.
Or Richard Petty.
Yeah. No, you think of Dale Earnhardt. But I can't stress enough how much I love those biscuits and mashed potatoes from KFC. When you dip that biscuit in the mashed potatoes and gravy from KFC,
it's great.
It's the best. It is the best. I got to go with Colonel Sanders having a bigger impact and moving on in this what's it called? White boy bracket?
White boy bracket. Remember, it's not about an impact. It's about when you're thinking, you go Colonel Sanders. Now that's a white guy.
That's a white guy. He wore a white suit, Ronnie.
Yeah. I think Leonardo DiCaprio based his performance in Django off of Colonel Sanders.
That's probably true.
So, Blake, we have the round of 32 matchup from this bracket set. Tom Brady versus Steve Irwin and Colonel Sanders versus Michael Jackson to see who advances to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So we've read off the stats. Everybody watching this, you can rewind and check out what the Tom Brady and the Steve Irwin stats were. Blake, who are you going with? Tom Brady versus Steve Irwin, a number 1 versus a number 3. Who wins?
I think the Cinderella story ends here, Ronnie. I got to go Tom Brady. I love Steve Irwin. I love that his kid has fallen in his footsteps and trying to get killed on TV by an animal. But Tom Brady, all those accomplishments you mentioned earlier, we didn't mention that he's hilarious in the cameos of Ted, and he's going to continue to be in cameos too, because that's what you do. I told you he should be the host of the Running Man in the new movie that they're coming out, but it is what it is. I think Tom Brady advances to the finals of this bracket for me.
All right, you got Tom Brady. I'm also going Tom Brady. All due respect to Steve Irwin, RIP. You gave it all.
Yeah.
You left it all on the field for us, Steve. But Tom Brady, when you think Tom Brady, you're like, white dude bracket.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's bump down to our number 2 versus number 4. All top seeds coming out of here, huh, Blake?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like that sometimes,
Michael Jackson versus Colonel Sanders. Who are you go? Oh, I guess it will be my pick. Michael Jackson. When I think about music, I'm like, holy shit, I love Michael Jackson. He's great. Colonel Sanders, I love that chicken. Now I wish we'd have done a bracket of nothing but fast food joints.
We still can. we can literally do whatever we want.
See, Michael Jackson. I may have to call somebody in for this.
I would like to point out that, Ronnie, I'm sure you throw it up the picture right now. You could argue that they have the same suit on, at certain points.
Yeah. Lindsay!
Is this going to be a first for the show?
No, she's not coming on screen. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Lindsay!
Are you using the phone a friend?
I'm not going to phone a friend.
I can phone a friend for you if you want me to.
Let's call Boz. All right, Lindsay. Colonel Sanders versus Michael Jackson. White boy March Madness bracket. Who wins? Okay. She went Colonel.
Sorry, I'm going against you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who to pick. She went Colonel Sanders.
Listen, that chicken's something else, man.
That chicken is good. Okay, that's all. That's where I was leaning. I just had to get confirmation. You want to call Boz real quick and see who are you going to pick?
I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. Wait a minute. It says MacBook Air. Let me see if I hook it to this.
I won't be able to hear it.
You can't hear nothing right now?
No.
I don't know where to hold the phone so you can hear. Hey, Boz, are you there?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right. Is it a good time to talk, or are you whooping that thing?
No, I don't ever do that.
Okay. Discipline. I love it.
No,
We're live on the show right now. We're doing March
Lot to
Madness
take.
bracket, and it's a white boy bracket, boys. The best white boys of all time. And
He contributed.
we got Colonel Sanders versus Michael Jackson. I need to know who you go with.
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders. There you have it. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
So what were you going to
Hung
pick?
up on him. I got to go Colonel Sanders. I don't agree with Michael Jackson being in the tournament to begin with, and I had him losing to Sean Connery, so it's an easy pick for me. That's why I wanted to get Boz's opinion, and I'm glad you got Lindsay's opinion. I got to go Colonel Sanders as well.
All right, so that means the finals of this bracket is going to be Tom Brady versus Colonel Sanders. You're up, Blake.
I can't wait to rewind that and hear Boz getting hung up on over and over and over.
I just love that he sounded pissed.
Yeah. So finals of this bracket: Tom Brady versus Colonel Sanders. Both legends of the game. Both. I mean, you could argue both the GOAT of their, of their occupation.
Without a doubt.
This is tough. I got to go Tom Brady.
All right, so I'm going Colonel Sanders, which means we're going to have to go to the wheel to decide who advances to the Elite Eight of this white boy bracket. Colonel Sanders versus Tom Brady. Give me just a second. Hold on. Let me pull it up. That's what she said. I'm just amazed at how mad he sounded.
Yeah, he did sound mad.
You called him back?
No.
Who was
His daddy.
that? All right. So let's spin the wheel.
Finally, I got one.
And Tom Brady advances to the Elite Eight, Blake.
And I think that's the right pick, Ronnie. I mean, you got a guy who's been to 10 Super Bowls, won 7 of them. I mean,
you got a guy that invented chicken that's everybody on the planet's enjoying. Is everybody on the planet enjoying watching Tom Brady play football?
Well, listen, when you lose $100 million in a crypto FTX scam and you still have $100 million afterwards, that's impressive.